Well, this does deserve three my's. And thank you, Representative Torres. I rise to support your amendment that strikes a provision in the bill that nullifies the FDA's decision to make Mifepristone, I'm going to call it short MIF, to make it more accessible by removing the requirement that MIF be dispensed only in clinics, hospitals, or medical offices. And I want to talk. We've been talking about with a lot of medical terms. I want to talk about the people who we represent. Like Donna. Donna is from Florida. My Florida colleagues, pay attention. You may know Donna. Actually, Florida still allows abortions up to 15 weeks of pregnancy. Donna's a fifth grade teacher. She's got 3 children of her own, who she loves very much. Jack, Lily, and baby Connor is only 3 months. She came back from maternity leave and found out she's pregnant again. She also found out that her husband of 12 years has cancer. And between taking him to treatments, taking care of her kids, teaching the fifth graders, she knows it's not time for her to bring a new baby into the world. And because she knows the responsibility to raise and care for a child, because she's done it 3 times. And she knows how much she needs to count on her husband's partnership, who needs to be in treatment for cancer. And she knows that having a 4th child now would just not be the right time for her and her family. Do you know Donna? Does anybody know her? I don't think so. What about Monica? I can't tell you where Monica is. You know why? Because she's hiding. She's hiding from an abusive husband who has emotionally berated her, beat her, controlled her finances, and sexually abused her. And like so many survivors of domestic violence, she has no support system in her community other than the shelter where she is hiding. And she doesn't think it's time for her to have her abuser's child. Does anybody know her? You don't know her. What about Monica? What about Jada? Jada graduated at the top of her high school class and turned down offers at Princeton and Yale to attend West Point. She's the first in her family to go to college. And she knows she's not ready to be a mom, and she doesn't want to give up on her dreams. Does anybody know Jada? These are just 3 stories, complicated stories. There are so many stories. There are 58 million women in this country who have childbearing age. They each have their own story. So it seems only fair, and it seems only just and common sense that we leave the decision of when or whether to start a family up to the person who is pregnant. Not up to a judge, not up to a governor, not up to a congressperson or a state legislator. So I said, why are we restricting access to MIF? And I'll answer that question myself. Because Republicans are on a mission. They are on a mission to ban abortion in the United States of America. That's the mission. And so it's no wonder that Medicaid abortions now account for half of the United States abortions. That's why we're dealing with this issue today. And just to talk about the safety, and I think Miss Meng is going to yield to me her time. Is that correct? Yeah, Madam Chair. I just said medication abortions now account for half of U.S. abortions. It was first approved by the FDA in 2000. It's been available in the United States for 22 years, and in Europe much longer. Over 5 million women have used it, and the body of research shows that it is safe and overwhelmingly effective, and the risk of fewer than continuing pregnancy or other common medications such as penicillin, Viagra, or Tylenol, all which can be obtained at the pharmacy without a patient having to go to the doctor's office. Well, here's an idea. You want to reduce these abortions? What if you had to go to a doctor every time you wanted to pop a Viagra or get on with telehealth. But that's totally a ridiculous idea, isn't it? I admit that. But listen, out of 20,000 medications regulated by the FDA that patients can self-administer, Mifepristone is the only one that the FDA had required a patient to receive in person at the medical office. So at a medical office. So look, a large panel, independent, non-political panel of medical science experts studied the large body of evidence of the safe use of Mifepristone over the past 22 years, and they eliminated an outdated requirement that required women to visit her doctor in person to take the drug. So, listen, I want to just say, and I don't know if this has been mentioned, there are side consequences of this. There's side consequences because, if we can just, with an act of a judge or an act of Congress, automatically nullify an FDA approval drug, it's going to have other consequences, of course, because who's going to want to invest in drug development in this country? So, and look, who's going to be harmed the most? Women in rural communities, women in maternity care deserts, women who do not have a reliable access to transportation, child care, women who can't take time off from work to go to the doctor. And then, of course, I said we're setting a dangerous precedent here. So, listen, I'm going to close now. And here's what I want to just say. Again, women, people who are pregnant, women, they must be able to decide if and when they want to start to grow their family, not politicians. And Mifepristone is safe and effective medicine that's been used for 20 years to terminate pregnancy under the laws of each state and, of course, appropriate state regulations. I urge my colleagues to support this very good amendment, and I yield back.